Welcome back, everyone. It's lovely to be here to introduce my friend and colleague Manal. So, Manal is a mother. She has a few boys. She's been practicing various embodied disciplines for over a decade. So, she's a holistic coach, a near first degree black belt. I don't know, maybe more than that. Teacher. Which I had no idea what that meant, but now I do. And she's a dancing mindfulness facilitator, and also just a reader and an inspirer. So Manal has completed various trainings, including embodied leadership through the Strozzi Institute, and also the embodied facilitator course, which is where I had the pleasure of meeting her. Manal is now also on the leadership team for the embodiment conference, which is awesome because I see her laughing face a little bit more often. And today she's going to be presenting on parental self-care, so a necessity, not a luxury. So welcome, Manal.
Well, thank you, Steve, for a lovely introduction. It's nice to be introduced, actually. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for those who've been, in more than one session and since the morning with us. Well, since this is a self-care session, and that's the prompt, I invite you to take a few seconds right now and choose if you could be 10% more comfortable taking care of yourself. Maybe you want to lay down. Maybe the self-care would be to get up and jump a little bit. Do what makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. And I know from experience, if you're a parent, we don't usually think about that. So yeah, as Steve mentioned, I have two kids. I have two boys, 13 and soon to be 15. If I can get a sense of, for parents here, how old are your kids? What I'm going to be sharing is going to be relevant to all ages, but just to get me a sense of, who is here. Self-care is something that we need to practice as parents, as everyone. 15-year-old boy, Sonia, yeah, lovely age. Roshan, 2 years. Yeah, there are, and I think, I used to think it's like, what's the best age? And my own experience is there's no great age. And I don't know if someone has like a really older kids here can have the same feeling. But each age has its own kind of blessings and headache. Yeah. 5 and 6 months. Yeah. Well, then let's begin this with 1 year. God bless you for being here. 5 and 10. Let's begin with a quick centering practice. And centering, if anyone is familiar with, or not familiar with, I simply see it as coming back to myself, coming back to who I am in essence, and that's the place where I know and I can choose for myself of what do I want to do. So however you are, you could, as all sessions, you have a choice in how you want to do it. You want to keep your eyes open, you close. If you're driving, please keep your eyes open. Otherwise, make that choice for yourself. And simply bring your awareness to the ground underneath, whether you're standing or sitting. Maybe it's your feet, that contact with the floor. And notice your breath without having to change anything. And think about something that makes your heart smile. Maybe it's a cup of coffee ice cream. Maybe it's an hour away from the kids. I don't know. What would bring a smile to your heart and face? And if you've noticed any difference between 5 minutes ago when we started the call and now, I'd like you to put it in the chat. And if you didn't notice any thing, that's fine too. So I personally feel I'm more grounded. My breathing got a little bit slower. And it could be as simple as like, oh, this feels nicer. With slower, yeah, more grounded and smiling. And isn't that a nice feeling to have when we, in general, and as parents especially? So this last few months have taught me a lot about how much embodiment have helped me in the way I parent. Really, I think it would have been a much more difficult experience for me if that happened 5 years ago, when I was almost always in a reactive mode of like, okay, trying to get everything right, trying to get every one of my kids to do what they need to do, and not having that space of settling down and calming down. And yes, I think that was one of the things on the day website is like, how can I stop yelling at my kids? So I could be nice and calm and say, please pick up your shoes or pick up your clothes 1 or 2 times. And then it's like, you know, yelling would be the only way out. So that was me 5 years ago. With the various things that I'm doing, my own practices, EFC last year, and centering has been my number one savior. That's what helped me more than anything else. So I'd like you to have that experience for yourself. And if you like to, you know, indulge with this small experiment, there's no one way of doing this. And our reactions could vary depending on how we are today and a lot of other things. So if you could think about something that it's a bit annoying that your kids do. And if you're not a parent, you're just here to learn more, just anything that's someone close to you. Maybe it's your parents or your partner. That is something a little bit annoying, so not too frustrating. And I'll give you a minute to kind of think of that. So it could be something, like I mentioned, pick up your wet towel off the bathroom floor. Or just wash the dishes after you eat. And if you can bring that incident, it might have happened this morning or last night or, you know, last week. See if you can notice what do you do with your body when you think about that. So what I mean by that is notice how's your breathing, any tension in your body, your mood, and maybe the natural reaction that you usually do after this happens. And if you could put it down on the chat or over my own feel it down. For me, there's always that feeling of, oh my goodness, how many times do I have to keep saying that? It's simple, just do it. Sometimes it's shoulder raised. Sometimes it's, for me, it's the jaw. I walk away, yes. So let's go ahead and feeling a sense of panic. We'll do that centering, or you can call it whatever you want, coming back to myself, coming back to my senses maybe. Notice the ground underneath, whether it's your feet or your bum on the chair, your back against the couch. Notice your breathing. Think about something that makes your heart smile, whatever that is. When I do this with my 13-year-old, he loves puppies and he wants one and I'm saying no. So usually my prompt to him is think of puppies. And bring that annoyance, frustrating thing that you were thinking about a few minutes ago. And notice if there's any difference about that thing. And if you haven't noticed any difference, that's fine. You can put that also on the chat. And if you've noticed any difference, or you might think that your reaction would be different, you can put that. If anyone wants to take themselves off mute and talk about that for a minute or so, please do so. And if you're enjoying that feeling of, you could stay with that a little bit more. I'm seeing from the screens in front of me that the faces are a little bit more relaxed. For those who have their cameras off, I don't know. So I'm going to keep talking. You could still, whenever you feel like, you're ready to type and put any kind of thoughts or difference that you feel in the chat. What I find from my personal experience is many times there's this kind of, I think it's an automatic, I don't know from how we got that, but taking care of myself and taking time off is the last thing that I need to be doing. And sometimes it could be perceived as selfish, like, oh, okay, I can't go take time for myself because my kid needs me to do something. Or, oh my goodness, in my head, I have to prepare a healthy, nutritious meal, so I'm over-exhausting myself. And I see smiles here and nods. So I can't go rest a little bit. And it becomes over-exhausting. And what personally happens at the end, I do prepare that meal or whatever that activity is, and kids will look at it, it's like, we don't want to eat. And I would go into a reactive mode. Oh my goodness, they don't appreciate this, and I've been doing, and I could have da-da-da-da. And I'm seeing a lot of smiles, and for those who don't have, so I think you have a similar experience. For those who are not on camera, if you could just say yes or no, simply, if that's, experience that you have one way or another. Yes. Yeah, yes. Okay, so it's not me. So this is the great news, is you are not alone. as parents, we all go through this. So let's, big part of it, let's put that guilt and we're not being our best selves as parents to the side, especially yes, exactly. And one thing about self-care, and I'm sure there's a lot more people that are qualified to speak of the polyvagal theory on our nervous system. So I'm not going to go into that. But we are really connected with our kids on a nervous system level. So our kids really pick up on how we are feeling, more so than what we are saying. So if we are anxious, if we are exhausted, if we are kind of frustrated, they pick on that. And it happened to me many times, and for many of the parents that I work with, is the kids sort of know when you're exhausted, and that's their time to kind of push that button that would drive us all to the edge. And there's a reason behind that they might also feel, they sense our anxiety, they sense our fear, and that's their reaction. So this is the one piece why I'm saying that self-care is not a luxury, because when we are taking care of ourselves, we are putting ourselves in a better space, in a better capacity to be there for our kids, to help them regulate their nervous system and their way of doing it. And if I'm depleted, if I don't have a capacity to do anything to help them regulate themselves so they could feel safe, then really all hell breaks loose, and we go into that spiral. And in many cases that have happened to me, I end up being and doing the things that I don't want to do as a parent, and it takes me away from who I want to be as a parent. So you could do this standing up to assess. We're going to go through a simple embodiment exploration, assessing my own capacity, and have this exploration today that we're doing now about today, about right now. One thing that I've learned is, I think it's with everything in life, but especially with parenting, that I can have a lot of ideas and ideals of what I would want to do with my kids. And there's certain rules. Of course, there are values and things that we don't want to leave behind, but there are things that I would like to do. And as parents, we're prompted in, we want to be everything we want for our kids, which is not really that possible. I mean, historically, it was never just the job of the parents to do that. There was a village. When it, saying that it takes a village to raise a kid, it does take a village. And we're trying to take all these roles on us to be there for our kids. So this exploration about what is happening for you today. So you could be standing up or sitting down. I'll remain sitting down. So let your shoulders relax a little bit, and you can bring your hands to the front. So I'll move to the side. So it's not too high, it's not too low. It's like you're holding a ball or something. And notice how big or small this space in. Some of you might be a smaller space. This is, and you could play with it a little bit. So, okay, so and you can imagine this space being your own capacity of dealing with your kids or doing something, or your energy level. So is it, there's no right one way or a right space. Some days you can have a bigger space, like, okay, you want to do things. Some days would be small. So however that is for you. And if you could look at this space and make a choice of what do you want to choose to have in this space? What do you want to take care of today? So it could be, today I am cooking a meal. Today I am reading them a book. It could be, and anything that has to do with yourself today. Like, I'm calling a friend, I'm reading a book, blah, blah, blah. That's your space. Where everything outside this space is something that it might be important, but it's not in your space today. And at any time, if you feel your shoulders, your muscles are hurting, you can shake your hands a little bit and bring it back up. And see if you could stay with your breath and your feet on the ground, and slowly bring your hands out. Where, and you can say it, I don't have the capacity to deal with this today. So what you want to choose right now to leave outside of your space, outside of your circle of care. And play with that a few more times in. And again, it doesn't have to be the same every day. So today I really need to go to my yoga class, or I need to read a book. I don't have space for arts and crafts because my circle is a bit too narrow for today. And when you're ready, shake that off. The question I'd like to explore, and if you want to put it in the chat or take your mic off, is what would be something that you want to take care of today? And what is it? Something that you don't have space. It could be important, but I don't have a space for it today. Or just a comment on how was this practice, anything that comes up.
It's quite empowering, isn't it, to just have a physical movement and the thought, and it's quite freeing to actually acknowledge, like, I don't have space for that, and own it. I found that really quite interesting to work with. I really liked this position as well. I felt empowered during the exercise. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Mercedes says, no space for cooking lunch. Yeah, I was a health freak with my kids for some time, and it's okay. It does not hurt them to eat chips for lunch one day. Want to listen to this? Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. In the morning or anytime during the day. I don't know. It depends on you, on when would that be. It's a good, maybe a practice of doing that in the morning and assessing like how much. And what I'd like to share is that my own experience, and that's also from the capacity that we have, that this space would, there's no relation to how much this space is to my capabilities of as a parent. So it's not that if I have this big of space, I'm a good parent, and if I have a small space, I'm not a good parent. Where, you know, there's this good enough parent that, you know, it's just what it is today. And we are all, and that's something that we also, important for us to teach our kids. And again, they learn from what we are doing, not from what we're saying. So if the kids understand that some days I don't feel like doing this and I need to take care of what's important. So this space is not a reflection on your ability to be a parent, but it's a reflection of how much capacity you have. And how is it big or small could depend on how much time we slept. Are we hungry? Is there something at work that really needs my attention, or so many other things? As for women who are here, you know, where am I on my menstrual cycle? Am I ready to go out or want to stay in? And I'd like to take this experience a little bit further, if you'd like. So this would be the space. And if you could slowly, staying with your breath, bring your hand in, and it doesn't matter which hand goes up. One hand goes up and the other hand will go down, and slowly bring your hands to touch. However that touch is comfortable. See if this feels good, and if you'd like to stay in this space for a little bit more. With your next exhalation, you could soften your shoulders, your jaw. Maybe closing your eyes and just bringing one head to a shoulder. And that's your self-care. So notice, how does this feel? Does it feel familiar? Do I do it enough? Do I feel guilty doing this? Have I done, what can I do today to self-care? And you're welcome to stay here a little bit longer if you'd like. And if you're willing, you could bring your hands out again. Bring it to that circle of care. And what do I choose to keep out for me to be able to truly self-care? And when you're ready, let that go. So I think, Steve, how about a breakout room? You guys could discuss, how does that feel? How is that self-care feels? And again, I'd like to keep the guilt outside of this exploration. So if you're not doing that for yourself, that's fine. So the question I'd like to bring you, I'd like you to bring in the breakout rooms is, what is my way of self-caring today? And just a note of about self-care, that how I care for myself is could be very different for me, myself, today or tomorrow or next week, and between individuals. One of the kind of stories that really struck a chord with me with one of my clients about self-care. I was working with her with self-care and how, you know, she could have that more in her day. And, you know, when I think of self-care, it's, you know, you could take a class, you could go to the spa, you could do a massage, you could take a bath. These are the things that I would think of as self-care. So I encourage her to do that. And so the next time we met, she said, I hated the bath. I do not like baths. But she went to the grocery store and, you know, doing the lovely, you know, thing of buying stuff, which I think all parents absolutely enjoy. And that's I'm saying it very sarcastically. And she decided to buy a type of olives that she likes. She noticed that while buying olives for her family, she always picks the types that her kids like. So on that day, she decided to buy the olives she likes. She went back home and she put it on the table, and, you know, one of her kids started complaining. It's like, oh, why do we have this kind of olives? And she said, okay, this is the kind I like, and this is the thing we're eating today. And to her, that was, wow, I took care of myself. I did what I wanted to do, not did what my other, I matter to. Yes, absolutely. So in that general scheme of self-care, Steve, could we put the, you know, set the, I think 5 minutes would be good for 5 people in a room, and explore what would be your self-care that you could do maybe in a 5 minutes, half an hour. And it could be, you can have options, so many options. Something I could do in a minute, half an hour, maybe once a week. I've been eating healthy for me. Oh, thank you, Joe. Joe's leaving. Yes. So discuss what is it that represents self-care to you, and I'll see you in 5 minutes.
And bear with me, if you need to be reassigned in the room, I will do so if there's not many people there. So take 20 or 30 seconds. See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. I think we have everyone back. Yeah. Good. Cool. Welcome back. Anyone wants to take themselves off mute and share? How is that exploration? It's like, how do I take care of myself? How do I give myself that space? And you can also add it in the chat. So, any of you have something that you could take away for today to take care of yourself? Okay. What others? Yeah. Found inspirations, ideas, being to stretch and release. Long bath if I have time. So, yeah. And sometimes it's exactly a stretch, this practice of self-care, just learning to repeat the boundary practice daily. This, if you'd like to give yourself a hug, a self-care, if you'd like to go in that, and you're able, in that posture, and you could stay there while I speak. This practice is from EYP, the Embodied Yoga Principles, and it does help me personally to take that minute of, yeah, that feels nice. I got to practice, sometimes I do this before I sleep, like, oh, and you can repeat any kind of wording, any kind of thing that, you know, oh, I matter, I'm good, I'm okay. With that. And really, kids do learn from what we do, more so than what we say. We could be saying the same thing. So one of my kids is, you know, when he gets anxious or frustrated or he doesn't want to do your homework, and I'm telling him, oh, relax. Anyone find it helpful to tell someone who's agitated to relax? Does it ever work? It doesn't work with me. So I bring it back to why self-care is a necessity, not a luxury, because it's how we can teach our kids what we would want them to do and be in life. I think most of us, all of us, want to have kids who are, you know, happy, calm, you know, pleasant, kind, able to have good relationships, be able to make good choices, especially when I shout relax. Exactly, you're gonna have to relax. Don't do as I say, or don't do what I do what I say. Yeah, and that's my realization one day when I was faced with what my kids are doing, and I'm saying, oh shit, I am telling them, I'm doing exactly what I'm telling them not to do. So to have that capacity for myself to be able, okay, I can take care of myself, I can calm down my nervous system, and I can be in the room with them and help them calm themselves, especially in the times that we're here today. And with that, it's a practice. It's not something that I decided to do one day and it's like, yay, I did it. It's a practice. And even with my kids, when they are feeling agitated, and I keep telling them, listen, you have to do this practice all the time to be able to sit back, make a choice, and do what you want to be doing. So this is my invitation, is the way I'm taking care of myself helps me take care of my kids. It's no longer if I have time to take care of myself. Just the way we want to feed our kids, we want to, you know, give them the education that we think it's good for them. That's also something we're teaching them. We're helping them navigate that world from a space of self-care. And it's really, if I'm able to take care of myself, then I'm in a better place to take care of others, no matter what age, no matter what the other is. And I think we're coming too close to the end of this session. Oh, I feel already better myself. So in the last few minutes, any thoughts or explorations or revelations, I mean, that you would want to share with the rest of the group? And really, we could always have the time and do this. It's like, yeah, I'm doing the best I can today. And assessing our capacity also helps us to navigate what is it that I want to be dealing with. So if I'm tired and I didn't sleep and I have a headache, is it really the right time to negotiate how much time they are staying on their devices, or going into a big discussion of what you need to be doing in college? As a parent, sometimes I find the oddest time to talk about big subject, which is not great. Fantastic. Yeah, treating myself. Bia, yeah, iPhone. I mean, you can.
Okay. What I found really that what really useful is identifying what do I have the capacity for, what I don't have the capacity for, just and doing the exercise of, yes, I have a capacity for that and I don't have capacity for that. It reinforces what I really want and what I can or I cannot do at a specific time or a specific day or a specific moment. Thank you.
Yeah. Really useful to come out of head and embody space. Yes. Staying in my head never helped me as a parent. It just took the whole thing way too seriously. Okay, so I'm aware we have to close. So thank you very much, everyone, for staying here and engaging with the session. On Parenting Day. Sorry. Yes, this practice is helpful no matter what you're doing. It's also if you're not a parent, even if not with your spouse, with your parents, with your colleagues. Yes, children do what we do, not what we say. Well, I think, yeah, back to you, Steve, for the, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Manal. And if anyone would like, today we've been letting people say thank you, unmute themselves. So if anyone would like to say thank you to Manal doing that, you're free to do so.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manal.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Manal.
Thank you. Oh, I love magical lecture. I'm gonna take that away, for today. It's magical. It's thank you very much. Can you tell me how to pronounce your name? Garoj?
Yeah, Garoj.
Garoj.
Yeah, Gaelic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and also, I have a link tree that I've posted for you, but do you have any other links that you would like to share? I've posted that over on the Facebook group where people can find out more about you.
Yes. Yeah, I think, where is it? If anyone wants to reach out, this is my website, and you could easily find me on the Embodiment Conference group. I'm always there at some point. And I'll do the bit of the application, Steve. if you don't mind.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So as Steve mentioned in the beginning of the call, I'm part of the Embodiment Conference team. And this is upcoming week. It would be the last week to accept applications for the conference. There will be one more in September, but that would be targeted to specific kind of needs that are not already there. So if you're thinking about applying, please do so and support the conference by sharing it with other people. Yeah, I think there's one thing more, Steve. But
yeah, so there will be recordings from this event that will be there until Monday morning UK time. The link is there, and please do share the Embodiment Conference with your friends as well, and you'll find all the links on the Facebook group, which is also there. So thank you very much, Manal. Kind of like getting back to the core, wasn't it? Just like sort of simple practices and noticing, and it's so powerful just to do that. So really appreciate that.